Today we are going to be learning about histograms, which is a type of graph. By the end of class, you should be able to make, read, and interpret histograms. A histogram is a bar graph that displays the frequency of numerical data in equal-sized intervals. Okay, so I'm going to underline intervals, maybe, because that's an important part of histograms. Okay, I know it looks like a bar graph, but it's different because it's in intervals instead of just one set number. So this first one right here represents 0 to 2. This one is 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, and so on. Okay, so this histogram is showing students and their number of pets. So this first one shows that 13 students have between 0 to 2 pets. 10 students have between 2 to 4 pets. Okay, so it's in intervals like this, the 2 to 4, 0 to 2, instead of a set number. A frequency table is a table which shows a tally of how many times a value occurs in each interval. So usually people start with a frequency table to create a histogram. Okay. So on this first example, it shows 0 to 2, and there were 13 students that have 0 to 2 pets. So you can use a frequency table or a histogram to show this data, but usually people start with a frequency table to create a histogram. Okay. So it says, use the histogram to answer each question. How many students have 2 or 3 pets? So we have to go, so remember this one is 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, and then 10 to 12, okay? So it's saying how many students have 2 or 3 pets. So we're going to look at this bar right there, okay? I know there's a 2 right here, but if there's 2 2s like this, like there's 2 4s, 2 6s, you are going with the uppermost bar, okay? So that means this one right here is actually just 0 to 1, okay? And you move your 2s over to this bar. So this is 2 to 3 right now, okay? So that means there are 10 students who have 2 or 3 pets. So next it says how many students have at least 8 pets. So remember, at least means 8 or more, okay? Because if you have to get at least a 90 on a test to get an A, you can't get an 85. You have to get 90 or more to get an A. So if we're asking how many students have at least 8 pets, we're going over here. Okay? So this one, there's 1, and this one, there's 2. So all together, we add them up, and there's 3 students who have at least 8 pets. So then it says the interval between 6 to 8 is empty. What does that mean? So that means no students have 6 or 7 pets. Okay. Some of them could have 8, because remember, there's this one, so that means someone has either 8 or 9. But, so if there's nothing in it, it means no students have that many. Next, it says how many students are in Miss Sanchez's class. So, we need to add all these up. So this one is 13, 10, 5, 1, and 2. Okay, 13 plus 10 is 23, 23 plus 5 is 28, 28 plus 1 is 29, 29 plus 2 is 31. So Miss Sanchez has 31 students in her class. Okay, take a minute, make sure you wrote down everything that I did, and then we'll go to the next slide. So this is the same thing. Now it's showing students and their shoes. So down here is their number of shoes. Okay, so remember, the 3 is going to count to the 1 on the right. So this is 0 to 2 pairs of shoes. This is 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 11, and then 12 to 15. Okay, so notice I did this a little different. I didn't include the 3 in my description on the left. Okay, so I did a little different than this one. This is how I want you to do it. Okay, the 3 should start the next bar graph to the right, just like this. 6 starts this one, 9 starts that one, 12 starts that one. Okay, so first it's asking how many students are included in this graph. So I'm going to count. So I have 2 here, 6 here, 3, 1, and 1. Okay, so I need to add those together. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 plus 1 is 12. And 12 plus 1 is 13. So there are 13 students in this graph. It says how many students have between 6 and 9 pairs of shoes. So that's this one right here. And our answer is 3. How many students have fewer than 6 pairs of shoes? Oh, whoops. So that one is going to be these 2, if we're talking 6 or less. We add 2 plus 6 together and we get 8. If you have questions on this, I will be back next class and I'll be able to answer them for you, or you can email me. Okay. Next, this shows how to make a histogram. Okay, so the first thing you do is identify the minimum and maximum numbers in the data set. Then you choose an appropriate interval width. Okay, histograms usually have 4 to 12 intervals. Make a frequency table. Tally the number of times a value occurs in each interval. Place the intervals from the frequency table along the horizontal axis of the graph, and then create bars for each interval. The height of each bar should equal the number of tally marks in each interval in the frequency table. Okay, so once you get to the homework, you're going to want to use this slide to actually create a histogram. Okay, we're going to go over an example. So we're going to make a histogram for students' pulse rates. So all of their data is shown down here. These are the pulse rates. Okay, first thing, identify the minimum and maximum values. So I don't need to put them in order, but I need to find my minimum and my maximum. Okay. So, I believe my minimum is 54, because it's the smallest. And then my maximum is 92. Okay, so I'm going to write minimum is 54, maximum is 92. Then it says the frequency table must start low enough to include 54 and must go high enough to include 92. So next, we're going to calculate the range. So we need to do 92 minus 54. Remember, your range is your greatest minus your smallest. And I get 38. So then I need to use division and estimation to determine an appropriate interval width. Okay, so that means I need to figure out how many intervals we're going to have. So this one had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals. This one had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 intervals. Okay, so on this one, since there's more data, we're just going to go with 8. Okay, so I'm going to do 38 divided by 8, and I know I'm going to get a decimal, but I would get 4.75, so I'm going to round that up to 5. Okay, so that means my interval width needs to be 5. Okay, so if I scroll down, this already gave you the intervals. Okay, so it picked 9 intervals that go from 50 to 55. So this is where the 5 came in. Okay, these are each 5 apart. Okay, so that's how we got the 5. Okay. So now I need to figure out which of these numbers fit into which of these intervals. So first I'm going to start with 50 to 55. I need to count all of my numbers up here that are in between 50 to 55. Okay, and it looks like I just have 1, which is 54, and I'm going to cross it off. So I put 1 there because there's one number. Next, I have 55 to 60. Now, I'm not going to count my 60 right here because that's going to go in the uppermost one. It goes in the bigger one, okay? So, I need to find between 55 to 60, and there's not any, so I leave it blank. Next, I do 60 to 65. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to put 6 tallies. 6. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. Goes in this one. 5, 6. Because there were none in between 55 and 60. Next, we have 65 to 70. So we don't use our 70s. So 1, 2, 3. We have 70 to 75. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I have 75 to 80. 1, 2. 80 to 85. I don't have any, so I'm going to leave that blank. 85 to 90. It's going to be 1. And then 90 to 95 is 1. If you want to make sure you got the correct number of tallies, go back up to your data and count to make sure. Okay. And then this is just a little note on the side. It says when a number in the data set lies on the border of 2 intervals, put it in the uppermost interval. Okay. Next, we are making a histogram for the pulse rates. Okay, so down at the bottom, I need to put my intervals. So I'm going 50 to 55. I'm going up by 5s. So 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. Okay, so it should start with 50 and end with 95. Next, I need to fill it in. So, my 50 to 55 is 1. So I would shade that in and then color it. You can make yours look a lot prettier than mine. Next, my 55 to 60 is empty. Then I have 60 to 65, and I have 6. Okay, and I would color that in. Okay. Then 65 to 70, there's 3. $70 to $75, there's 6. So it should be at the same height as 60 to 65. Okay. Again, yours should look a lot prettier than mine. 75 to 80, there's 2. $80 to 85 is empty. Then 85 to 90 is 1. And then 90 to 95 is 1. All right, so yours should look something like this. Okay. If you need a minute, pause the video and make sure you copy that down. So that's our histogram. And now we're going to do the same thing, okay? So it's already giving us the interval, so we just have to put in the frequency, okay? So 4 and 8, there's 1. So 1 tally mark. 8 to 12. Remember, our 12 is going to go in the next one for the 12 to 16. So there are none, so leave it blank. And then 12 to 16, 1, 2. And then 16 to 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I didn't use the 20. The 20 is going to go in the next one. It goes in the uppermost one. And then we get 1, 2, and 3 for the last one. Okay, I want you to pause the video, try to do it on your own, this next histogram. Okay, so it already gives you the interval, so go ahead and pause and try it on your own. So I'm going to start, our intervals are going up by 4, so this is going to be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and this is going to go up by 1s, because I know it'll fit all my data if I do it that way. And then I start putting it in. So there's 1 tally in 4 to 8. There is 8 to 12 is blank. There's 2 tallies in 12 to 16. There is 4 tallies in 16 to 20. Oh, I forgot to color that one in. Okay. And then there's 3 tallies in 20 to 24. Okay. So it should look like this. So it's not too bad. You will have to do something very similar to this on your homework. So make sure you're understanding it. Okay. And then I want you to write on here, how are bar graphs and histograms similar? And then how are they different? Okay. So you are doing these next 2 slides on your own. And then I will, when I get back the next class, I will check to see if you have the right answers and we'll go over them. Okay?